Hello there, this is Ron Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Toxic women. You know, I've been, a few videos ago when I made a, on-camera appearance, I briefly touched upon the issue of toxic women, especially as related to this, latest round of gender wars on YouTube, or black gender wars, right? Now, let me qualify what I'm about to say. Toxic women exist in all races and cultures. That being said, this conversation will be about the toxic women in the black community. Because, and also to be clear, this video isn't directed to them. It's directed at men. And you'll understand why I say this. One of the issues, before I get into what men really need to be doing about all of this, understand what really makes a woman toxic. If you're dealing with a woman in a relationship, or even if you're not, or if that woman has negative statements to say about you, regardless of what you're doing for no other reason but who you are and your gender, she's toxic. That's why I say there are toxic women in all races. But what we've been seeing really for the last 50 years in the black community is toxic women given a platform to speak. Now, first is through, of course, it was through TV talk shows, it was through the media, it was through books that defamed black men. And, of course, it stepped up on social media. The only difference is black men can speak up too. We have the platforms now to say something back and to change the narrative. Because you notice when many of these toxic women talk and they talk about what black men doing, they can only go back 10 years. They can only go back 10 years. You notice a lot of these women can't say, well, this is what you were saying about us in 1970 or 1980. Or this is what y'all were going on a talk show and talking about in 1995. Y'all notice that, right? Yet we can point out numerous examples. Now, one of the things to understand about these toxic women is, it's really just simple. They really dislike certain black men. Well, they'll say all black men, but one thing about them, if there's a black man who wants to, kiss their ass or behave in a subservient manner to them, they love that brother. But for a regular dude, nah, it's just a case of they just going to attack. They're going to find something wrong with them. And the thing about these toxic women, they just cannot, they couldn't see the good in a brother anyway. They could not see, you have this thing where they talk about many good black men especially aren't building, right? You can show them 1,000 businesses, churches, nonprofit organizations started and maintained by a black man and black men, and they'll still say, well, y'all not building anything. You get what I'm saying? It's like no matter what good any brother's doing, they're not going to feel it. They just going to tear it down or try to tear it down or talk negatively about it, no matter what. And then that's only one type of toxic woman. There's another type of toxic woman who she can get into a relationship with a man. And brothers, get in the comments and tell me about this. She can get into a relationship with a man, but she would do everything to tear that man down while in the relationship. Old school men used to call it nagging or something. Or you see those women always have to fuss with a man, always have to be contrary. Then when that man gets some sense and leaves, then it's like, oh, he abandoned the family. It was like, no, you didn't give him much choice. And I've seen it to the point, I've actually seen at least one case where I believe a man was killed because his wife, well, he not killed. You should say killed, but technically he died. He died from a heart attack. But his wife she would just tear at him publicly. I mean, it was just constant. It was like, damn, you gonna show you have any respect for that dude, at least in public? I was like, damn. It was like, I don't care what that dude, and he was doing a lot for the family, but the woman just didn't respect that shit. And that's the thing with a toxic woman. A toxic woman, she has just a deep-seated, even subliminal. She might not even know why she has that hatred. Just a subliminal hatred. It's on such a level, she couldn't even explain it. And it's not the usual suspects like, oh yeah, daddy abandoned her or somebody molested her. In many of these cases, those toxic women had a father in their lives. In many of them. In fact, a good, hard-working father. But because of their nature, they probably couldn't appreciate it. They might say, well, they ain't like his job or something. Or they ain't feel like they could be proud of it. It's something. It's not any one reason why these women would be toxic. And the funny thing is, with these toxic women, you can kind of tell they toxic because they tend not to have a lot of female friends. Because other women, despite solidarity shown publicly, they shy away from a toxic woman. They'll know better than you. In fact, if a woman peeps, like a decent woman, a sensible woman, a woman who wants to affirm the men in her environment, as long as they acting right, because a decent woman, and this is another conversation, a decent woman really ain't gonna mess with any knuckleheads. A truly decent woman. Because even some of those women who look decent on the outside, but they messing with some crazy dude or some dude that seem the opposite, that means that's an indication that she might not be as decent as you think she is. Again, another conversation. But yeah, other women, like if you cool with like one of those sensible women and she spot like a toxic woman, she'll let you know. I've had plenty of women, older women, see me talking to some woman, they take me to the side like, Ron, this is why that woman will be a problem. Seriously, I think that's why I haven't got any real trouble with a woman or really had my bank account emptied out behind a woman or any like psychological trauma and shit. Because other women will peep that, and other women listening to this video know what I'm talking about. Now, there's a lot I could say about the toxic woman. Just understand, there's nothing a man can really do with them. And even engaging them, unless you really have to, unless they just in your face and you really need to back them off of you, don't even try to engage them. More than a few people will say, I don't make videos really attacking specific women. That's because they're toxic, and why? I've even had people try to convince me to respond to some women. And I'm just like, nah. The reason why they toxic, you can't explain anything to them. They ain't operating off of logic. I mean, quite frankly, they dangerous. And sometimes that can start young. I remember, because I saw an 8-year-old toxic woman in the making. I remember years ago, the family, the kids were part of, at least the oldest was a part of this homeschool collective, right? And, there was something at this person's house. And there was this one little girl. She was just evil. Even the adults just looked at her like, this child is evil. And she's probably dangerous because she was, you could tell she'll grow up to be a stunner. And shoot, she was probably a demon lover. And that's definitely another video I have to go over, tell y'all what a demon lover is. But, people on my private site know what I'm talking about. But that woman, she was just toxic. She was just toxic, almost to the point where a couple of adult males at this gathering, had to restrain themselves from just yanking this woman. Because the females, they were already ready to go there with her. And this is just an 8-year-old child, but she was toxic. I mean, the reasons why women is toxic is a lot of reasons. But like I said, it ain't always because the father wasn't around. Sometimes the father was there. So it's well, let me just say this real quick, just about that part, about the women part, right? The last 50 years really is that these women have had access to media. These women have been allowed to write their books, allowed to say whatever. Part of it was serving the agenda of certain elite groups. And, the women might thought they were doing something, but really, they were just being good dogs. They were being good attack dogs. And you know what? The nature of a toxic woman, she probably don't care if you even point it out to her. She was going to do it anyway. Whether in private, because they don't need books, they'll do it in private. They'll tear up a relationship. They'll see a dude. They'll see a woman. I'm going to tell you what. That's why I say other women shy away from them. They'll see a woman in a good relationship and try to tear it apart. They just toxic. Now for the men, reason why, challenging the men. The reason why these women have been allowed to grow and influence, there's a lot of men who support these women. One way or the other. Whether they simps or, just some dude thinking they can get some ass because, the particular toxic woman got a halfway decent looking body. Whatever the case. But men play a role in this by supporting it. See, my thing with, if I encounter a woman, this is wrong. And I'm not going to tell you to follow what I do. Just take it in consideration. I got zero tolerance for a woman she shows any level of being toxic. Because I even have there's a lot of people whose comments are hidden on my page because they made some comment that identified them as toxic. Like with a quickness. Shoot, even had one, and I know it's a woman. She'll thumbs down one of my video before the shit's finished loading. No joke. I'm like, I know the video is like 20 minutes. I put the video up like it probably only been out for like a minute. And it's already a thumbs down. In fact, I had one person I had to block, and she probably listening and probably try to give us a thumbs down anyway. She was like, she even told me she just looked at, she's just thumbing it down just on the title. Proud of that shit. Yeah, I was proud when I hit that like button flagging her ass too. So look, with men, it gotta be zero tolerance. And fellas, this is why I talk about a lot of the stuff I talk about. Like about having standards, valuing yourself, only dealing with quality women. You got to starve the toxic woman of attention. You don't feed the beast. Don't feed her. And yeah, I said beast. Do not feed that beast. Yeah. And if any woman get mad because of it, that means you're a toxic woman. See, any decent woman, any decent sisters, sensible sisters, beautiful sisters that truly have some love in their heart for brothers, they ain't gonna be offended by that because they know I ain't talking about it. But the ones who are toxic though, it's like that's all you can deal with them because here's, like I said, you can be all that to like most of the civilized world. You can have your education. You could have built a school for underprivileged kids, have some scholarships to get them into college, had a couple businesses to finance the school. And they still want to look you dead in the eye and say, well, you haven't built anything. So you can't even, you can't deal with them. Logic don't hit them. Truth don't hit them. You got to just let them stew in their own juices. Like if you got something, if you around, like, it's just like if you see a toxic person, logically you should get away from it. Or if you see signs of it. And if you peep it, like you see your boy messing with somebody toxic, you need to pull him to the side. Say, hold up, dude. This is what so-and-so doing. You got to stop it. That's why they have been allowed to. And even acknowledging them sometimes. It's just like, no. Starve them for what they want. Because Some people, and this is people period, not just women. You got some people, they just negative. They get off on the attention. You got to starve them of that shit. So, that's it. But that's my, I'll say it's a ramble on toxic women. I was thinking about doing a deeper video, one of the paid videos. Because my mentor, he uses the term Amazon woman. And that gets into some deep shit. I might do a paid video on that. That'll be a little bit longer. Yeah. I'll sound a little bit different then, because I'll be hitting y'all with some examples and shit. But, you know, in closing, I just want to say, dudes, brothers, men, white men too, listening to his men of other races, because y'all got y'all keeping y'all toxic women under a little bit better control, but they still there. Zero tolerance. Zero tolerance. I don't care what she look like. I don't care what she's saying. As soon as she said that little snide remark or that little thing that suggests she might undermine what you're trying to do, that's toxic. That is toxic. Even if she got a smile on her face, if that woman in her presence isn't building up your spirit, isn't helping you to get where you're trying to go, you know, at best she just is incompatible, but in many cases she's just a toxic woman. That woman, whatever you build, especially if you're a man who really built something and building something, the toxic woman will try to tear it down. So the best way to deal with them, don't. Zero tolerance. So anyway, that's it for today. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.